Victor Wembanyama has truly earned his nickname, the Alien, so it's only appropriate that Wemby would lean fully into that name with a visit to NASA in Houston.
While other NBA stars are hitting the beaches or working on their jumpers, Victor Wembanyama just did something no basketball player has ever done before. He toured NASA's Mission Control, rode in a lunar rover, and literally called the International Space Station. But here's the crazy part. While he's exploring space, his critics back on Earth are going nuclear about his sophomore struggles. This is the most unique off-season story you'll ever hear. The 7'4" phenom nicknamed the Alien just spent his offseason at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, touring the vehicle mock-up facility, mission control, and taking a ride in an actual lunar rover. But this wasn't just a casual visit. NASA treated him like royalty, even letting him sign the hatch like a true space VIP. The images are absolutely insane. Wemby towering over NASA equipment, sitting in spacecraft mock-ups that were clearly not designed for someone his size, and actually calling the crew aboard the International Space Station. NASA even posted no simulations needed, just stellar vibes. They were clearly starstruck by basketball's biggest star. This isn't just some random publicity stunt either. Wembanyama is somewhat of a space nerd himself, having celebrated winning Rookie of the Year in 2024 at the Scobie Planetarium.
Zach, don't even open that up.
No, let's listen to the announcement.
The 2024 Rookie of the Year goes to Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs.
The guy literally chose a planetarium for his Roy celebration. Who does that? But while Wemby was literally reaching for the stars, the basketball world was tearing him apart back on Earth. The criticism has been brutal, and it started early in his sophomore season. Critics were saying he was underwhelming, and that many expected him to improve, but he has actually gone backwards.
I never thought he was a great defensive player either. See, what it is there's not a lot of centers that are making him play defense. Like, he's not doing it against Joker because he has to be engaged. But when he's going against another guy, he's 7'6". Of course, if you lay it up, he's going to block it. But defense to me is guard that, shut him down. You want to impress me? Hold Joker under 15 points. Now you're playing all that weak side blocking shot. That's cool, but it ain't gonna work against guys like me and Joker and Embiid. What he's talking about with Bam plays people. He plays the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. So I would give it to him too. But Rookie of the Year, who you got Rookie of the Year? Chet's team is winning.
So that's the.
But Victor Wembanyama
is doing things that haven't been done since you.
That's what I'm saying. So
2010 and 3.
Who you give it to?
The takes were getting spicy. In his sophomore debut, Wemby shot just 5 out of 18 from the field and 1 out of 8 from 3. Definitely not the performance people expected from the supposed future of basketball. Even NBA veterans started weighing in. Draymond Green had to explain the reason behind Victor Wembanyama's sophomore slump and what he needs to learn. When Draymond Green is giving you advice, you know people are watching every move you make.
It's a unicorn. It's a rare air that he's in.
Not only is it a unicorn, but you also get to a certain height where it becomes a disservice in this league. You know, like, there's nothing he can do about being 7'5", but I'm not sure 7'5" suits you better than being 7'1".
Right.
Or like being 7 feet. With the skill set that everyone loves about this kid. Being 7'5" almost hurts that because once you get to this level, you're going to run up against guys who's way stronger, that moves as fast or faster, and they play way lower to the ground.
Right.
And as you know, low man wins.
Right.
But the most savage criticism came from where you'd least expect it. An anonymous NBA scout who ripped Victor Wembanyama during his early season struggles. Anonymous scouts are usually the harshest critics in basketball, and they were not holding back. Fans and analysts have been vocal about Victor Wembanyama's shot selection, basically calling out his basketball IQ and decision-making. For a player who's supposed to be generational, having your shot selection questioned is brutal. The criticism got so intense that some fans started saying he's overhyped and that the number of critics against him seems to be growing at an exponential rate. This is a complete 180 from the universal praise he got as a rookie. Even more extreme takes emerged, with some questioning whether Victor Wembanyama ends up being a bust because he is thin and players that's built similar to him are usually injury-prone. And then the injury concerns became reality. Before he could even return after the All-Star break, the 7'3" phenom was diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot in his left shoulder, and was shut down for the remainder of the 2024-25 season. The critics who questioned his durability suddenly looked prophetic. This is exactly what they feared, a player his size breaking down early in his career. The timing couldn't have been worse for Wemby's reputation. But here's where the NASA visit becomes even more fascinating. Instead of moping about his injury, instead of hiding from the criticism, Wembanyama decided to literally shoot for the stars.
And they absolutely rejected that. They said NBA teams are absolutely calling them, encouraging them to consider the possibility of shutting him down in order to, prevent the possibility of getting injured. But he is not going to do that. They said Victor is not that kind of player. He's a competitor. He wants to get better. He wants to take his team to the playoffs.
Victor Wembanyama has done just about everything to earn his moniker of the Alien over his first 2 NBA seasons, and this NASA visit is the ultimate proof. While other players would be in the gym trying to silence critics, Wemby said, "You know what? You call me an alien? I'm going to NASA." The genius of this move is incredible. He's not running from the criticism. He's embracing his uniqueness. During his visit, he immersed himself in the workings of NASA, exploring the vehicle mock-up facility and mission control. This isn't just a photo op, he's genuinely interested in space exploration. Think about the message this sends. While everyone else is focused on earthly basketball concerns, Wemby is literally expanding his horizons to include the universe. It's the most confident response to criticism I've ever seen. The timing of this visit is perfect storytelling. Here's a player who just faced his first real adversity, injury, criticism, questions about his future, and instead of letting it break him, he goes on the most unique adventure in NBA history. Even his former teammates are talking trash, with reports that Wembanyama will skip EuroBasket 2025 due to the deep vein thrombosis, and his former Spurs teammate wasted no time in roasting Wemby after France lost without him. But Wemby's response? "I'll be exploring space while you're worried about EuroBasket." The confidence is off the charts. This NASA visit represents something much bigger than just a cool off-season activity. It shows a player who refuses to be defined by others' expectations or limitations. While critics are saying he needs to focus more on basketball, Wemby is showing that great players can have diverse interests. The fact that he's somewhat of a space nerd himself and chose to celebrate his biggest achievement at a planetarium shows this isn't just a publicity stunt. This is who Victor Wembanyama really is, a unique individual who happens to be incredible at basketball. Think about the mental strength this takes. You're facing the first real criticism of your career, dealing with a serious injury, and instead of letting it consume you, you pursue your genuine interests with full confidence. Now here's where it gets interesting. The same critics who were destroying Wemby's basketball performance suddenly had to acknowledge this was pretty cool. How do you criticize someone for visiting NASA? How do you call someone a bust when they're literally being treated like a VIP by rocket scientists? Even those who were vocal about his shot selection had to admit this was unlike anything they'd ever seen from an NBA player. The narrative started shifting from "he's struggling" to "he's the most interesting player in the league." But here's the genius long-term play that most people are missing. Wemby is building a brand that transcends basketball. While other players are just athletes, he's becoming a cultural icon. The NASA visit will be remembered forever, long after people forget his shooting percentage in November. His struggles were even compared to LeBron's sophomore slump, where his points dipped to 22.7 on less efficiency. But the miracle of players as great as LeBron and Wemby is that their slumps would be considered great games by normal players. The comparison to LeBron is crucial. Even the greatest players face criticism and adversity. But how many of them responded by visiting NASA? Let's be real about what this NASA visit actually represents. It's the ultimate flex against his critics. While they're questioning his basketball IQ, he's literally hanging out with rocket scientists. While they're saying he's not focused enough, he's showing interests that span the entire universe. The photos and videos from this visit will be iconic forever. Imagine trying to roast someone on Twitter and they respond by posting pictures of themselves in mission control at NASA. Game over. And the best part? NASA was clearly thrilled to have him, treating him like a true space VIP. When the smartest people in the world are excited to meet you, it puts basketball criticism in perspective. This NASA visit sets up Wemby for something no other NBA player has ever achieved: genuine crossover appeal beyond sports. He's not just building a basketball legacy, he's building a cultural legacy. Think about the partnerships this could lead to, the educational opportunities, the inspiration he could provide to young people interested in both sports and science. While other players are stuck in the basketball bubble, Wemby is breaking barriers. The injury that seemed like such bad news? It gave him the time to explore these interests and show the world who he really is beyond basketball. Here's what makes this story even better. This is setting up the greatest comeback story in recent NBA history. When Wemby returns from injury next season, he won't just be the player who struggled early in his sophomore year. He'll be the player who went to NASA, who expanded his horizons, who showed the world that greatness isn't limited to one area. With time to recover from the deep vein thrombosis, he's going to come back with a completely different perspective and renewed confidence. The critics who questioned his mental toughness are about to find out what happens when you doubt someone who literally reaches for the stars. Years from now, when people talk about Victor Wembanyama's career, this NASA visit will be one of the defining moments. Not because of what happened during the visit, but because of what it represented. A young superstar refusing to be limited by others' expectations. While his critics were focused on shooting percentages and sophomore slumps, Wemby was focused on the universe. That's the mindset of someone who's going to achieve greatness far beyond what anyone can imagine. This wasn't just the most unique offseason ever. It was a statement that Victor Wembanyama plays by different rules, dreams, bigger dreams, and refuses to be contained by the basketball world's narrow expectations. At the end of the day, while other players were working on their jumpers, Wemby was working on his legacy. While critics were questioning his focus, he was showing the world that true greatness comes from curiosity, courage, and the confidence to be completely unique. This NASA visit proves that Victor Wembanyama isn't just the future of basketball. He's the future of what it means to be a global superstar in any field. The alien has officially landed, and he's taking us all to places we've never been before. What do you think? Genius move, or should he have been in the gym? Drop your thoughts and hit subscribe for more NBA content that's out of this world.